Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. I'm down here at Barangaroo at the Barangaroo ferry stop, and just at the foot of the magnificent Crown Casino building. As you can see, towards the top there, it is mist and cloud, hiding that little crown at the top there, but it is a beautiful part of the city and an involving part as well. I'm currently down here working on the Barangaroo Metro train station project, which will be finished in maybe 18 months, and it will connect a number of metro stations throughout Sydney and be, I guess, the future and the benchmark for transport, public transport in and around Sydney. Anyway, it's a wet old day. It's overcast, it's springtime, it's uncharacteristic to tell you the truth. Normally this time of year we've got lots of beautiful sun to lead in the day, but with El Nino, it's going to be, I guess, wet for the next few months, as it's been wet for the past few years actually. And I guess all of us who have grown up in Australia have learnt that Australia is either a country characterised by drought, and then flood, drought, drought. It's just one of those countries that seems to swing from one extreme to another. But we'll do whatever we can to get by, and I guess embrace and welcome the weather conditions, whatever they are, because weather in Australia, I guess weather worldwide, has always been variable, and it changes from year to year, and we can't really put a bead on it and say that it's trending in one way or the other. It just seems to swing from one extreme to the other, and it's always been the case since biblical times in memoriam. Anyway, what I want to do today is go through a book summary, and the book summary is an older style of book, the sort of books from the past that I cherish and I really love. And the book is entitled The Magic of Believing, and it's written by an author known as Claude M. Bristol. Don't know when this book was published, but I would imagine it'd be, I guess probably even before I was born in the 1960s. But the message is timeless, and I've been to a number of seminars over the years where I've heard presenters talk about these topics, and it never ceases to amaze me how interesting it really is and how empowering it is, and to think that people of my parents' and grandparents' age, if not earlier, had access to this material is also quite interesting and empowering. As you can see, we've got a ocean liner coming in, and it probably dock over the other side there near Balmain. So we'll have that as a backdrop, an interesting backdrop to keep things interesting while we chat away when we walk and talk. So the author kicks off this book summary with an observation where he basically says that hard work alone is not enough to bring success and fulfillment to one's life. So what does he mean by this? What he's getting to here is, and he's made an observation, I guess we all know this throughout our lives, that the world is full of hard workers who have very little to show for it. What he's suggesting here is that in addition to hard work, you also need creative thinking and a belief system, and also an energy system that will enable you to execute your ideas with passion and belief, so that you can harness the power in that and create magic where possible. Because what he says is that you can work hard, but if you've got your ladder up against the wrong wall, if your why isn't powerful, now you can be just working and just ticking the boxes and going through the motions, and that in itself will will get you part of the way there, but it won't be enough to get you all of the way there, is one of the key messages. So the hands, according to this author, are the helpers of the brain, and our actions follow our thoughts. So the clear call to action from this author is that we need to make sure that we have congruency and alignment in our lives. Our goals, our aims, our objectives, our energy, and our beliefs all need to be coordinated as one. And you need to know what you want. You need to know or have identified what your calling or callings are. You need to have a powerful and a strong why. And you need to know, as we said before, where you are heading. When I was a younger executive working at IBM, my boss back then, one of my bosses, one of my managers, his name was Greg Gleason, always used to say, you can't stop a man or you can't stop a person who knows where they're heading. Because if you know what you want to achieve, if you know where you want to go, regardless of the distractions, regardless of the detours, regardless of the hurdles that you have thrust in your path, you will find a way to go over, under, around, or through in order to achieve your goal. And it's for those people who have been parents with young children. You will know that once they focus on something, once they know what they want, they will do whatever they have to do in order to achieve it and to get there. And we need that childhood sort of motivation as well in our lives to keep us focused, to make us pig-headed, so that we too can do the things that we need to do. Just like this ocean liner is maneuvering itself around, and it's got that little tugboat to the left helping it get to where it wants to get. We too need to be able to maneuver ourselves, to align ourselves, and to know where we're going, where we're docking, on which day, and in which place, to ensure that we get there and we're happy along the way. So this author, just like many authors of this generation, of this genre, talk about the power of one's subconscious and the fact that we need to partner with our subconscious in order to manifest our future. We need to use our subconscious, our beliefs, as a magnet of manifestation, is one way of seeing it. Because what you focus on is what you become. What you look for, or what you identify with, is who you will become. So we need to be careful with who and what we want to identify with, so that we're not confused and we don't end up becoming what we're not I guess, destined to become. But the power of our subconscious can never ever be underestimated, because what the author here talks about is the power of repeated suggestion, which creates an aura that allows us to overcome our reasoning, because sometimes our reasoning can work against us. You know, our cultural background, our educational background, the families that we grow up in, the people that we surround ourselves with can be an advantage, and can be a disadvantage, because what those environments do is that they set up an environment which can foster a belief system. They can foster and maintain and enable to grow various fears, various beliefs, which can be limiting or empowering. It all depends on what they are. But what we've also learnt over time through our lives is that throughout life we can be infected by a number of limiting beliefs, by a number of irrational thoughts, irrational fears, which may have made sense at the time, things that we've inherited from our parents, our grandparents, our school friends, our previous experiences, maybe traumas in the past in our lives. But those things don't always hold true, especially if they don't fulfill you, if they don't serve you, and if they don't help you become a better person. So we need to take guard, and we need to understand that repeated suggestion creates an aura and allows us to overcome reason. But we need to do this in a creative and a purposeful way, so that we don't fall victim to it, and we don't create a belief system or a worldview that is, I guess, characterized and supported by conspiracy theory or stupidities like that. So we need to be creative in our thought processes, so that we think clearly and that we use evidence where possible to base our actions on. And we are the CEO, the producer, the captain of our vessel, and not somebody who is living somebody else's life, somebody who's living somebody else's fears, but to be the person who is living our unique life. Because we've got to understand one thing, and it's very, very important to understand this one thing, that we all are going to experience and to live a different past. We are all going to experience a different present, a different now. I am here, you are there. You could be on that ship there, for example, and have a completely different perspective of life, of today, of the now, than what I have. And we are all most certainly going to have a different future. So the bottom line, according to this author, is that we are all an expression of our actioned thoughts. So the things that we think about regularly, the things that we do regularly, are all going to compound into actions and experiences that are going to fully express themselves in our personhood. So it's important to understand and to foster the right thought processes, because one thing for sure and for certain is that our subconscious will blindly obey our beliefs, and bring about the things that we think about, and it will most certainly manifest our beliefs, whatever beliefs we have, right or wrong. It will manifest them through our confirmation biases. So what we're saying here is that for those who are unaware, the human brain has a part of the brain called the reticular activating system. And the reticular activating system is a filter. And it's a filter which enables us to manage and maintain all of the sensory inputs which go into our brain. It's important to realize that our subconscious basically takes in everything that happens around us. So all of the sensory input that comes through our eyes, our ears, our nose, our feeling, our emotions, every single thing that comes into our subconscious is unfiltered. But the things that go into our conscious, the things that we focus on, the things that we see, the things that make us surprise us, or attract our interest, attract our focus, are things that our reticular activating system allow to bubble to the surface through our filter. So once again, if you believe or if you don't believe, whatever you believe in will influence your reticular activating system, and your reticular activating system will conspire with the universe to ensure that your beliefs are supported, even if they're wrong beliefs. Whatever your belief is, your reticular activating system, your pattern matching program will scour the universe, will scour everywhere, just to prove your beliefs that are right, and just to confirm whatever biases you have. It's important to understand that. So, moving on with this book summary, the author also goes on to say that regardless of what your beliefs are, you need to believe them with a passion, with enthusiasm. Because as we all know, enthusiasm is contagious. And we are all salespeople. We are all salesmen. And we're selling different things to different people. And we're also selling those things to ourselves. We are selling goods, we are selling services, we are selling our personalities, we are also selling our thoughts, our beliefs, and our ideas to our partners, to our children, to our parents, to our work peers, to our classmates, to our societies, to our cultures, through to our religious affiliations. But we're also selling them to ourselves. We must never ever forget that. So everybody is a salesperson. And I love this quote from this author where he quotes Emerson, where he says that every man, which means of course every person, carries in their eye the exact indication of their rank. So you can't fool, you can't bluff people. The way you see yourself, your self-image, is something that is on display through your actions, through the way you hold yourself, through the way you talk, through the way you walk. So I guess the call to action here from this author is to make sure that the things that you think about, the things that you believe, the things that influence your world need to be things that are empowering to you and to the others around you. So remembering that as you act, you become. As you think, you act. And of course, you become. So make sure that the knowledge that you have, the things that you think are the right things for you. Because we know that knowledge is only potential power. Thoughts are only potential actions. It's what you actually do is what counts. What you actually do on a continual basis will shape who you are, who you become, and who your family, friends, and society see and acknowledge. And as the author says here, we are all called to become the very best version we can of ourselves. We are called to become the CEO, the producer of our lives. And at the end of the day, man or persons are the heirs to the wisdom of all ages, which are found within books, other people's experiences. OPE is a very powerful point, and one of the main reasons why I have Jim's 5am Club, and why I promote so many book summaries, and I publish so many episodes. I'm up to 1,400 and I think this is 1,413 or 1,414. It's an enormous body of knowledge that I've been able to accumulate. But we need to understand and acknowledge that a person in their own lifetime can only have a limited number of experiences. You can only live one life at a time. But if you are able to encompass, to leverage other people's experiences, what you're able to do is you're able to live multiple people's lives at the same time. You're able to learn of their experiences without having to live their experiences. Because, as we say, we can only live one life at a time, and you can't have multiple lives unless, of course, you leverage OPE, other people's experiences. And the beauty of Jim's 5am Club is that on a daily basis we will go through and discuss OPE, other people's experiences, and look at 2 or 3 life hacks, how we can incorporate those learnings into our own lives, how we can incorporate it and use it to not only improve our life, but to improve the lives of those around us, our children, our grandchildren, our partners, our friends. So don't underestimate, never underestimate the power of learning through books, because what books do is they capture wisdom through the ages, through different times. And times in history have a habit of repeating themselves. So we can learn from the past, and as we say, the future may never be exactly the replica of the past, but there are some things that we can use to at least give us a clue in terms of what the first, second and third level consequences may be based on what we've learnt from other experiences in other times. As the author here also says, we become the average of the half dozen people we associate with the most. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that we're hanging out with the people that we want to be like, rather than the people that we don't want to be like. We need to go to where the gold is, because the gold mine is not going to find us unless we're very, very lucky. The diamond mine isn't just going to appear in our backyard. We've got to find our way to those gold mines by first of all knowing what gold mine or what location we're trying to look for. The author then goes on to say that it's important to be authentic in our lives, to be a welcoming sort of personality, to offer sincere compliments, and to be a friend. In order to have friends, the author says here, an old-fashioned sort of statement, that in order to have friends, you need to be a friend first. But thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club. Once again, I always enjoy going back in time, back to the time of my parents, my grandparents, and studying the authors of those times. And I'm just amazed at how advanced the thought processes were back then, and how those resources were available throughout time. Anyway, I think it's time for me to head off to work. So wishing everybody a happy Wednesday. May it be a productive Wednesday where you make the right decisions, the best decisions, and achieve the greatest first, second, and third level consequences and rewards from your actions. And we're hoping that today brightens up, the sun comes out, and that cloud and mist disappear. So once again, thank you for joining me on Jim's 5am Club. If you enjoy what you hear, there are 1,423, I think, more videos in English. I'm well on my way to getting to the 1,500 mark in English, and hopefully you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and pass it on to your friends and family or anybody else who may benefit from this free service done with love. It comes from my heart. It's an investment in time, and one day I hope for this to be my legacy that I can pass on, as I said, to my children, to my partner and grandchildren and future generations. Of course, time will change, but hopefully this OPE that we address in these blogs will continue for time into the future. Take care everybody, yasas, and bye for now.